Hey friends, it's Quimby, the Grateful Queen, here on YouTube. And today's video is a little bit different for my channel. My channel is usually all about reselling online. I'm a part-time reseller. I sell on eBay and Poshmark, mostly clothing. But today's video is about taking an old antique table that I got at the thrift store for $5 that was not in good shape. It looked like this, and turning it into a vintage farmhouse, distressed, shabby chic piece of furniture that I absolutely love. So in the end, it looks like this. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't hard to do. I've done it on some other furniture before, but this is the first time I've documented it for you guys step by step. So I thought I'd share it with you. The reason why I thought some of my normal watchers who are resellers might like this is because a lot of resellers, you have the opportunity to find furniture out at yard sales, free on the side of the road, dumpster diving at thrift stores, and a lot of resellers also sell on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something. So if you have access to inexpensive furniture, this could be kind of a fun DIY project that you can turn around and flip for good money, because this is desirable stuff right now. And if you're not a reseller and you're just interested in learning how to do this, follow along. I'm going to take you step by step. It's not hard. It's not expensive. It's pretty easy. It's really fun. It could be lucrative if you want to do it for business, or you could just get some cool stuff that you would like to use to decorate your home. So here we go. Okay, so let's gather our supplies. We're going to need a paintbrush, maybe different sizes is good, some rags, and a microfiber towel for the wax that comes last. Here is the chalk paint that I'm using. This brand BEHR is from Home Depot. I really like it, and it's only $19.99, so it's less expensive than other brands. You definitely want to go with chalk paint specifically. You'll need sandpaper. I'll talk more about sanding later in the video. And then here's the wax that I'm using. This wax gives a layer of protection and it makes it really smooth feeling, so you don't need to add anything else other than the wax. It comes in different colors. I just go with clear. And so I like to do my DIY projects outside. This paint doesn't smell or anything. It's really kind of eco-friendly in that way. And I use a rag just to first dust off the furniture, remove anything that might be on there. You want a really clean surface to work. And I like to use a real high quality piece of furniture. This is a early 1900s, maybe to 1920s table. Because of the markings and the style, I know that. But it's my belief that the vintage and antique furniture is just made better. Here's my partner, Peter, just tightening up the screws, making sure the legs are really stable. But you can see what a beautiful piece is. It's just not in great condition anymore. But I recommend doing this on a high quality piece of furniture. So here is the paint. The color I'm using is Adorned Blue. It has that kind of like robin's egg, really classic old vintagey style. And I have several different size brushes available to me. I should let you guys know right off that I am not a perfectionist. I am not an expert. I just do the best I can. I want it to be easy. I want it to be enjoyable to do. And I want it to be inexpensive. I'm sure there are other people that can do it more perfectly. I'm happy with the end result, but you'll see I'm just using an inexpensive brush and I'm just layering on my first coat of chalk paint. So chalk paint is a different kind of paint. It's really creamy, and after you put it on, it has a really nice kind of satin-like finish. So I definitely recommend, if you can, to do it with the chalk paint. This brand BEHR, B-E-H-R, is, I think it's Home Depot's online. So I'm showing you just like what a first coat looks like. I choose to do 2 coats. And I don't think with this style of making it kind of shabby chic vintage that it needs to be perfect. Just slap that first coat on there. So here's what it looks like when I have the first coat on the legs of the table. This was a challenging piece, you guys, because there's so much detail on the legs. If you're just starting out, I maybe start with something a little easier. Just because there's so much shape here, it was a little challenging to cover. But I'm just getting the first coat of paint on as best I can. I'll let it dry and then I'll go back and do a second coat. So I just want to show you here just how damaged the top of the table is and give you a good shot of what it looked like before this process. Okay, so I have the table with 2 coats of paint. The legs are really what took all the time. The top went so easy. It's still wet, but this is just 2 coats of the chalk paint. I'm going to let it dry for 24 hours before I do the sandpaper to distress it. And I'm going to look at the top. If you remember, there was a lot of staining and damage here, so I want to make sure that's covered by the paint in the end. So tomorrow I will come out and do the sandpaper to distress it, and then when I get the look that I want, I will put the wax on just to seal it. One of the things I love about the chalk paint is it has such a smooth finish. When it's dry, it feels really nice. And one of the reasons I love using an antique piece of furniture is because of the way it's put together so well, but also because it has so many little imperfections, little nicks, little areas that I think adds to a really unique vintage kind of farmhouse look. All these little just natural imperfections and things. That's one of the things I like about using an older piece if you want to go for that shabby chic or that vintage farmhouse look. Okay, now comes the part that I think is pretty fun, which is the sanding and distressing. I liked this imperfection from the damage on the top of the table, so I chose to leave it there. I'm going for a distressed look anyway, an aged look, so I liked that. Here's the sandpaper that I'm using. It's a grit 60, so this is more coarse. The more coarse your sandpaper, the more distress you're going to get. So let me show you, just with a few strokes with a coarse sandpaper like this, you're going to see a lot of the natural wood of the table. So here we go, just a few strokes here, and then you see how much paint that takes off and that distressed look that it gives you around the edges. You want to focus on areas of the furniture that would naturally be distressed from handling and wear. If you don't want a lot of distress, use a finer sandpaper. Or if you're newer and you don't know how much you like, start with fine sandpaper. You can always do more later. With this piece, I knew I wanted a lot of distressing. I wanted to see a lot of that beautiful wood from underneath the paint, especially because this adorned blue is a brighter color, this kind of robin's egg aqua color. So I knew I wanted to do heavier distressing. You can also use an electric sander if you know you're working on a larger piece, or you know you want to remove a lot of that paint and show a lot of the wood through. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing by hand. I mean, this took a lot of manual work here, so you could use an electric sander. What I often do when I'm working on a piece like this is I'll do a bunch of sanding, I'll step away from it for an hour or two, and then come back and see what I think. Do I want more? And so I did quite a bit of work on this piece, but this process can be really fast, you guys. You could do this whole table in 48 hours, no problem. So I like that about it. The next step is going to be the waxing, which is our final step, and then we'll take a look at how it came out in the end. And the final step is just to take a lint-free rag and wipe it down with this decorative wax. I just keep dipping my lint-free towel or rag into the wax. you know, I probably take like a half tablespoon at a time and just rub it into the furniture. It'll feel buttery soft, super smooth, really nice right away. You don't need a lot of it. A little bit goes a long way, and it just protects your piece of furniture. It's like a seal, and it gives it such a nice finish. And then you're done. Let's take a look at how our piece turned out. So here's the final piece after the sanding and the waxing and everything. I really like how it turned out. And here's how I used it in my home. I put a wicker basket full of my collection of antique baby dresses and some paintings in matching colors. So thanks for watching that. I would love to hear from you now in the comments. What do you think? If you have any tips, if you've done this kind of stuff before and you want to share it with others who might watch this video later, make sure to leave it in the comments. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing on your way out. I'll end by showing you how I use this table to decorate in my own home, maybe a couple other pieces that I've done that I've used this technique on. I haven't sold it, but I could if I wanted to, and I think you could too if you're a reseller, especially because we have such opportunity to find inexpensive furniture. And it's fun. It's fun. It saves this stuff from the landfill, and you could sell it if you want or keep it and decorate your home. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. And I'll leave you with this. This is an armoire that was kind of just a ugly oak armoire that I redid. My partner and I, Peter, worked on this together, and we distressed. I love when you can find a piece that has these kinds of ornate details because they look so nice distressed. You always want to add distress to places that would get it naturally, like the corners and the knobs. And this is a just a frame that I did. It's a heavyweight wood frame, and I did it in that same adorned blue color, and I'm using it here for decoration. And here is the table that you saw in this video. I'll leave you with this. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button on your way out, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.